Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Joke Rogers. Coming up on the program today, the Ogun State government set to begin security tracking and mapping of schools as Governor Ibikunle Amosun receives freed staff and students of the Nigerian Tulip International School. Adamawa State government provides food, drugs and other relief materials to victims of the Madagali suicide attack. And the Imo State government floats new airline, targets economic growth and job creation. Three suicide bombers and a civilian JTF have been killed in two separate attacks in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The head of Media and Public Relations of NEMA, Mr. Sani Dati, who confirmed the incident, says the first attack occurred at about 11:55 p.m. when one of them targeted a security outpost in Usmanti layout. He was shot dead by the military. The second is said to have occurred this morning at about 5:30 when two suicide bombers, a female and a male, were trying to gain entry into a mosque in Kaleri area but were spotted on time by the civilian JTF. Just over a week ago, the University of Maiduguri was attacked and 4 persons were killed, including a professor of veterinary medicine. The suicide bomber responsible for that attack and other foiled attempts are believed to have infiltrated the town through the Kaleri-Muna axis of the area. The Kaleri-Muna axis has become notorious as most of the explosions that have occurred in Maiduguri in recent times are either around the place or linked to the area. The Adamawa State government has donated food and non-food items worth millions of naira to residents of Madagali Local Government Council. This is in the wake of recent attacks and the rate of suicide bombings, which has left many victims and caused food shortage in the town.
One might not be able to imagine being excited at the sight of these food items and supplies. But for residents of Madagali who have been victims of suicide attacks, it is a welcome sight. And as grateful residents load up their supplies, the chairman of Madagali Local Government Council acknowledges the generosity of the donors.
My first appreciation and gratitude will go to the governor of the state. He is the person that said donate this food and non-food item to Madagali local government. He sent me that I should bring this food and make sure that I distribute it to all the beneficiaries, especially the beneficiaries of the last bomb victim. So, and one NGO, I don't know him, they say Eto, right from the word go, he sent that they should give him my number and my name, and he got a lot of things.
A delegation from the state government proceeds to one of the schools in Gulak to survey materials donated for building schools in the area.
More is still coming, and all our schools that has been brought to us due to insurgency, the government will rebuild it all.
Residents of Adamawa State, especially those in Madagali, who have been affected in recent times by suicide bombings, are grateful for the donations but want more than ever to be a peaceful society once again.
Elsewhere now, to provide the much-needed security of lives and property, especially in schools across Ogun State, the state governor, Ibikunle Amosun, says the government will commence the mapping and tracking of schools in the face of current security challenges. He gave this hint in Abeokuta while receiving the rescued students, staff and management of Tulip International College, Isheri, in his office. The governor also announced some of the security measures being put in place across schools and sounded a note of warning to criminals to desist or face the wrath of the law. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Lagos, Kayode Aderoti, says the victims were released by their abductors at about 8:35 p.m. through the bush path behind the school compound in the Isheri area of the state.
All our schools now, what they are putting in place is to do some kind of mapping. because you look at where you are. They've given me everything. We went there to even do this drone shot. And when I saw it, I said, wow, you are trying there, but we are not seeing any part of this must be free, must be safe. We are ever deep, ever far from the place of this. It must be safe. But there are certain precautionary measures that we are going to take now. We are going to rejig our security so that we will make Ogun State will not be cumbersome for all these criminals.
As a peaceful state, as a safe and secured state, will definitely continue to be in the history of this nation. Nobody will come and disturb the peace of this state. This is not the place that kind of a thing will be orchestrated. We are resolute, we are committed to the safety and security of not only the citizens of this state, but to our national duty.
The federal government says it'll do all it can to overcome the setbacks in the power sector occasioned by shortfall in gas supply and sabotage of power infrastructure. The Minister of Power and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, said this while briefing State House correspondents after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo. To help improve the generation of power and expand the transmission process, the Council approved the completion of the Odogunyo transmission substation in Ikorodu, Lagos, at a revised cost of 3.5 billion naira. The minister says the contract was awarded in 2009 and abandoned for lack of funds. He notes that the cost was reversed as a result of the economic realities of the time so that the project can be completed and put into use as an addition to the expansion capacity of the national grid. Well, in the meantime, textile workers have marched to the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company, protesting against the cut in the power supply to two of their members for over 2 months now. The protesters say the lack of electricity to work has led to a stop in their production. In its response, however, Ikeja Disco says the companies in question owe over 550 million naira.
The premises of Nikem Tex Limited, one of the textile manufacturing companies in Nigeria, has been quiet since November 17, 2016. The entrance of the factories have been locked since then, and the over 2,000 workers have gradually stopped coming because the company, as well as their counterparts, Kotsin, located in Ilupeju, have been cut off power supply by Ikeja Distribution Company over the alleged reason that the company has not been paying its tariff.
We are paying our bill till date as agreed by MAN. Because the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, when the tariff was increased from 2.0 to 2.1, MAN said MAN members should not pay the new rate.
The list of their members that were affected by that scenario, these two companies whose unions are picketing today are not on that list. They were put on a subsequent supplementary list.
The National Union of Textile, Garment and Tailoring Workers of Nigeria have taken it a step further and occupied the gate of the Electricity Distribution Company in solidarity of their members.
Ikeja Electricity Company must improve on its corporate governance. We know of other electricity companies who also face similar challenge. They don't arbitrarily cut off their customers because they know if the customer don't produce, there's no way they can pay.
The good thing is that the union says they are open to negotiation on the amount which has been placed at over 550 million naira.
There's no way you can pay that huge bill immediately. So let us sit down, dialogue, and spread the bill and pay.
With the federal government asking for patronage of locally made products, there's the obvious need that disputes like this be settled as soon as possible to allow for maximum production of local goods. Ini Thompson reporting for Channels Television News.
When news across Nigeria returns, the Imo State government floats new airline targets economic growth and job creation. Details in a moment.